Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast where you learn English through real conversations, real emotions, and sometimes real embarrassing situations. My name is Leo.
And I'm Eva. We're really excited you're here because today's episode is going to be very practical, very funny, and honestly, extremely useful if you want to sound natural when you speak English.
Yes, because today we're teaching 20 conversational phrases that native speakers use daily. And instead of just listing them, we're going to show them inside a true story that happened to me last weekend.
And guys, when Leo told me this story, I laughed for like 10 minutes straight because it included strangers, a lost phone, a karaoke accident, and a very emotional conversation with someone's grandma.
Okay, when you say it like that, it sounds chaotic.
Because it was chaotic.
So last weekend, I decided to go to an international language meetup. I wanted to practice speaking with new people, improve confidence, and maybe make friends.
Which already sounds brave because talking to strangers in another language is stressful for many learners.
Exactly. When I walked into the cafe, there were about 20 people sitting at one big table, laughing and talking loudly, and I suddenly felt that uncomfortable silence inside my head where you don't know what to say first. And that's when I tried to break the ice.
Phrase 1. Break the ice.
That is such an important phrase, so let's explain it properly. Yes, when we say break the ice, we don't mean real ice, obviously. It's a metaphor. Imagine social tension as frozen ice between people. When nobody talks, the atmosphere feels cold and awkward.
Breaking the ice means starting conversation in a friendly way to make everyone feel relaxed.
And learners sometimes think they need to say something very smart or impressive to break the ice, but actually, simple questions work best.
Exactly. I walked to the table and said, "Hi everyone, I'm Lito, and I'm honestly a little nervous meeting so many new people today."
And suddenly, people smiled and started talking to me.
That worked because honesty is relatable and human. Phrase 2. To be honest.
And you naturally used our second phrase already, to be honest.
Yes, and this phrase is extremely powerful in conversations because it signals that what you're about to say is your true opinion or feeling.
Native speakers use it constantly, especially when they want to sound sincere or slightly vulnerable. For example, I could say, "To be honest, I almost didn't come today because I felt shy."
And notice something important for learners. When natives use this phrase, it often softens the sentence emotionally. It makes you sound open, not rude.
So after introductions, someone asked me, "Do you enjoy meeting new people or do you prefer small groups?" And I answered, "Well, it depends."
Phrase 3. It depends.
This phrase is gold for English learners because it saves you when you don't know how to answer immediately.
Exactly. Instead of forcing yes or no, you can show your answer has conditions. When I said it depends, I continued. It depends on the atmosphere, the topic, and my energy level.
That's very natural because native speakers rarely give simple answers in real conversations.
Phrase 4. By the way.
Later, the conversation became smoother, and I wanted to change topic without sounding random or awkward. So I said, "By the way, what languages are you learning right now?"
This phrase is like a conversation bridge. It smoothly introduces new information without interrupting flow.
Many learners suddenly change topics without transition, and it can feel confusing for listeners. "By the way" solves that problem beautifully.
Then we started talking about English spelling and pronunciation, and I explained how weird English can be sometimes, because words like through, though, and thought look similar but sound completely different.
And after explaining, I said, "It's confusing sometimes. You know what I mean."
Phrase 5. You know what I mean?
This phrase is socially important because it invites listener agreement and checks understanding at the same time.
And it also creates emotional connection because it feels like you're including the listener in your experience.
But learners should remember not to overuse it because repeating it too often can sound insecure.
And one guy looked at me and said, "Actually, I don't know what you mean." And I was like, okay, that was brutal honesty.
At least he was honest.
Later, I met a guy who said he learned English mostly from online games.
I got excited and said, "Guess what? I learned a lot of English from video games too."
Phrase 6, guess what?
This phrase builds curiosity before delivering news. It makes listeners emotionally prepared and interested.
It's very common in storytelling, especially when you want to share exciting or surprising information.
Then he explained how games forced him to communicate quickly, and I replied, "That makes sense."
And this phrase is very useful in polite conversation because it shows active listening.
It means you understand and respect someone's explanation.
Then someone asked me about different English accents, especially British regional accents, and honestly, I didn't know much about them. So I said, I'm not sure.
This is extremely important because native speakers use this as a polite way to admit uncertainty instead of giving wrong information.
And it sounds much more natural than saying, I don't know, in many situations.
Phrase 9. Fair enough. The person replied, "Fair enough."
Which means they accept your explanation and respect your honesty. It's calm, polite agreement.
And then disaster happened. I accidentally knocked over my coffee cup and spilled coffee on the table. I immediately apologized, and a girl sitting next to me smiled and said, "No worries."
Phrase 10. No worries. This phrase is extremely common in casual English, especially in Australia, UK, and increasingly in American English. It means it's okay, don't stress, no problem. It creates relaxed atmosphere.
Later, 3 native speakers joined the table and started speaking super fast, using slang like, "That's lit," "I'm vibing," and "low-key funny." I couldn't understand anything. I just smiled awkwardly for like 30 seconds. Finally, I said, "Hold on, can you slow down?"
Phrase 11. Hold on.
This phrase is extremely practical. It helps you control conversation speed politely without sounding rude.
Phrase 12. I get it now.
After they explained the slang slowly, I said, "Oh, I get it now."
This phrase signals learning moment and makes conversation interactive. Phrase 13. That's a good point.
One girl said that confidence is more important than grammar perfection, and I replied, "That's a good point."
This phrase shows intellectual respect and keeps discussions friendly.
Phrase 14. Long story short.
Later, they suggested playing a speaking game, and I texted Eva, long story short, I'm about to sing karaoke with strangers.
Which honestly sounded like a disaster waiting to happen.
Phrase 15. I'm just kidding.
One guy pretended to be my singing coach and gave me fake homework, then laughed and said, "I'm just kidding."
Important for humor and preventing misunderstanding.
Phrase 16. Let me think. During karaoke, they asked me to talk about my dream job before singing, and I said, "Let me think."
Perfect phrase when you need time without awkward silence.
Phrase 17. Sounds good. After karaoke, they invited me to another meetup, and I said, "Sounds good."
Phrase 18. I'm in.
Later, I became more confident and said, "You know what? I'm in."
This phrase shows enthusiastic agreement.
Phrase 19. What's going on? At one moment, someone's grandma joined the video call during karaoke night, and I whispered, "What's going on?"
Phrase 20. That's awesome.
And when Leo told me the full story, I said, "That's awesome," because sometimes learning happens in unexpected and funny situations. I realized that conversational English is not about perfection. It's about connection, reaction, and being brave enough to speak even when you feel unsure.
Exactly. Real conversations are messy, emotional, unpredictable, and that's what makes them powerful learning experiences. If you enjoyed this episode, try using one phrase today in real conversation or write it in the comments.
And don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and thank you so much for listening. It really helps our channel grow.
See you next episode.
Keep practicing and stay curious.